week 1 picks, our American game of the week, Charlotte versus James Madison. Honestly, the American was kind of hard to pick because a lot of teams play FCS teams in week 1. But Charlotte is a team that I had tabbed as a sleeper team, and they get to bring in the JMU Dukes in week 1. So potential upset opportunity here. Matt, do you see the upset happening, or does James Madison roll with this one?
I see the upset happening, and I think that's part of the downfall for James Madison. The reason why this year is going to be a step back. I think Charlotte's going to just come out and punch him in the mouth. And then James Madison, everyone's going to be like, wow, James Madison is not good this year. And then they'll float off into not anyone talking to them about them ever again.
Matt, you picked James Madison to win this game.
No, I didn't. Oh, maybe I did.
Someone's had a long day.
It's been a super long day. I also texted you a couple days ago, and the more I thought about it, the more I think Charlotte can win. But for the sake of argument, maybe James Madison doesn't falter in this game, and maybe the hype train moves on for a couple more weeks.
At least you can flip the switch very quickly. I like Charlotte, but I see James Madison pulling this one off. I think their offense is going to be too much for Charlotte to keep up with, as they're kind of figuring out their portal pieces a little bit. I like Charlotte as a team, but I don't think they're going to be able to pull this one off. Now, the next one in the ACC, I had to make sure this game was included somehow, just because, I mean, this game, whoever wins, whoever loses, I mean, they're at least one, if not both fan bases, are going to be completely frustrated and pissed off by the time this game ends.
Yes.
And it's going to be just absolutely wonderful to see. The Miami Hurricanes at the Florida Gators. Matt, who do you see winning this one?
I have Miami. I'm not on the hype train of Miami is back, so I want to say that before your rant. But I do think Miami wins this game. I think Florida is just that bad. And I think Cam Ward is going to have a game here.
Very nice. Yeah, I was trying to think about this one, and I thought about it, and I was like, you know what? This would be the kind of game that Mario Cristobal just finds a way to lose. You know, everyone's on Miami on the hype train, and everyone's buried Florida and left them for dead. But this is still a game where Miami has to go into the swamp and try to beat the Gators. I actually like what Florida has as a team, and I see the Gators pulling the upset here. If this happens, by the way, it would be a complete disaster result for the ACC. In terms of getting multiple bids, the playoff, they really cannot afford to lose this game.
Yeah.
Next.
So go ahead.
Oh, finish your point.
I was just going to say, we already touched on Florida being bad, and then we didn't. I think we both bashed Miami in the ACC video. It's been a week, so a lot has happened in that week. So I can't remember exactly what I said about them. But just to add the cherry onto the top of this game, it's a night game, isn't it?
It's an afternoon game in the heat, in the swamp.
I was so hoping it was a night game that was just like pouring down rain.
Honestly, with how hot it's going to be, I think the fans will welcome some rain.
Probably.
Next, in the Big 12, big noon at Fox is coming to this game. West Virginia versus Penn State. This is a huge game for West Virginia. If they could somehow pull off the upset here, it would very much change the equation to where you're talking about more teams in the Big 12 making the playoff compared to the Big 10. And for Penn State, I mean, this is a huge proving point, you know. Is their new offensive coordinator going to be better, or is it not? What do you think, Matt?
I think it's going to be Penn State. I think just having a better quarterback is going to come down to it. I know you're not high on him, but I think that Penn State is going to continue beating West Virginia in this early season rivalry game. And the fact that they play it early in the season and then in the first in week 0 is perfect. I think this needs
It
to
is week one.
continue to be. Oh, it's week 1. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, the first week of the season, I do agree with those two playing each other. I think that's a necessary thing each year.
Yeah, yeah, I love that. I love the effort from Penn State to play this game, and really the scheduling for West Virginia in general has been really awesome because they seem to prioritize a lot of regional games. And I should have prefaced this by saying that we didn't do one for week 0 because we are looking forward to all of the games. Um, but anyways, my prediction here, I do see Penn State disappointing overall this year, but for this game in particular, I'm not sure if West Virginia has the horses up front to stop Penn State's run game. And I'm not sure West Virginia is going to be able to run the ball well enough to win this one. It's going to be very tough to run on Penn State, and they don't have much of a passing game to be able to threaten Penn State's defense and get them off the line. Penn State's going to try to pack the box here, stop Garrett Green from running, turn him into a pocket passer, and make life difficult for him that way. I think it's going to be close, but I think Penn State pulls it off.
Yeah, moving on to the Big Ten. We have USC versus LSU, and I think this is the game where everyone realizes that LSU is going to suck. I'm not very high on USC either, but Miller Moses,
Miller Moss.
Moss, whatever, one extra letter. I think Miller Moss is going to be the difference. I think he's a better fit for the offense than Caleb Williams was. I think Caleb Williams just had the overall talent to keep this team afloat. So I think the better match will make the offense look like flow nicer. I think the turnovers are going to go down, but I'm still concerned about their defense.
Yeah. And by the way, I really hope this game features. This is a Sunday night game. I'll be flying home during this game, and most likely, thanks to in-flight entertainment, I'll be watching it the whole way home. I really hope this game provides all the silly, stupid, goofy plays that we've had in the past with these LSU Sunday night games. LSU's playing on Sunday night, I think this is the third week in a row now, or third season in a row. So I just gotta say, I hope we get all that. In all reality, both teams are trying to figure out their defense because these were teams that had electric offenses, but their defenses sucked last year. I see LSU just barely pulling this one off. I do think Miller Moss is going to be really good. And I was so close to taking USC in this one. In the end, I think LSU just is a little bit better in the trenches, and that's what helps the Tigers win this one. Next one, Conference USA, was another tough one to kind of figure out. There wasn't really a lot of, they're either, it was Western Kentucky getting sacrificed to Alabama. I didn't want to pick a Thursday game, so that's why Jacksonville State and Coastal Carolina's not on here. So that left me with Sam Houston and Rice. Rice is a team returning a lot of starters. Sam Houston is as well. If they were to pull this one off, it'd be a huge early big win for Conference USA against the American. Matt, what do you think?
So I really think that Rice is going to come out on top in this one. I do like Sam Houston, but I think it's going to be one of those games where consistency is key, and Rice is pretty consistent right now. And I think that Sam Houston is too streaky.
Yeah. In the end, for me, the quarterback position ended up giving me the edge here. I really love what EJ Warner is going to bring to this Rice offense. I'm excited to see it. And that's ultimately what made me go with the Owls over the Bearcats here. Next, Maction, a huge game for the MAC. The Miami Redhawks travel to Northwestern at the temporarily lakeside place where they're playing football this year. It is hard to believe this is where a Big Ten team is playing games, but this is what's happening. And by the way, because I get Miami Redhawks tickets emails. For some reason, tickets to this game are more expensive than the Notre Dame game.
That makes no sense.
I don't get it either.
Maybe it's because of the stadium.
I think maybe because it's so small, they can hardly fit anyone in there. The good news is it's early in the year, so at least it's not going to be cold when you're getting blasted by those 40-mile-an-hour lakeside winds.
Yeah.
Mentioning that weather, even if it is 40-mile-an-hour winds, that base goes perfectly for Miami. I think their defense is going to be really tough here for Northwestern to deal with. Northwestern has not convinced me their offense is going to be that good. I think Miami's just able to get an early lead and really just control the game to grind out a nice little 17-13 win.
Yeah, I think Miami is going to show everybody that they mean business. And I think Northwestern I'm not too high on their program, even though they did win 8 games last year. Um, I think this is going to be one of those, hey, maybe the MAC is better than Northwestern right now.
Yeah. Mountain West, we have UNLV at Houston. UNLV plays a very tough schedule this year, and it starts with this game at Houston. For the conference as a whole, this is a very critical game. Probably a must-have, I would say, if the Mountain West wants to be in that contention for that 5th auto bid to the playoff. And Houston, meanwhile, with a new coach, they want to start off strong. This is a very underrated game in the week 1 slate.
Yeah, so I think Houston's gonna pull it out. I do think it's gonna be a close game though. I just think Houston has a little bit more talent, despite being one of the worst teams in the Big 12. I think they're going to show that there still is a gap between the Big 12 and Mountain West.
Future first round pick Donovan Smith at quarterback.
Yeah.
Last chance to throw it out there in the preseason before the game.
Yeah.
My thing is, Houston is breaking in a pretty much brand new defense. I mean, the defense sucked last year, so sometimes when a defense is bad and you lose everyone, it's not always a bad thing to completely change the scheme up and just start from scratch. But for having new pieces in new places in a new scheme, going up against the go-go offense is not optimal. That offense is very tough to defend. You really have to be in position at all times. Are they going to be ready for that? That's my question. I don't think they will. I think UNLV manages to run all over them and pulls off a huge win.
Ooh.
Next, we look at Texas A&M versus Notre Dame, one of the biggest showdowns of week 1. The Aggies hosting the Irish. It's going to be very tough in that environment. And I mean, there are playoff implications here right off the bat. Who do you think wins this one?
I think Notre Dame still wins. I think that Texas A&M is still trying to figure things out. I don't think this is a Notre Dame team that is limited by Brian Kelly. I think this is a new Notre Dame team that embraces continuity. And I think this is a Notre Dame team that may have a little bit of turnover and may be a little weak in receiver, but they still have Al Golden calling their defense, and they're going to have a good offense this year still. They still have good running backs. Their offensive line is consistently good, even though they lost. I think it was right tackle to a knee injury already. Yeah. And I think the receivers are going to show up, and I think Riley Leonard is going to make everyone go, Riley Leonard went to Duke? Really?
By the way, let's be real. Like this game, I would be surprised if it's anything but like one of those classic 13-10 games.
Oh, yeah.
It's going to be very low scoring. I think Notre Dame's going to have a little bit of trouble with that offensive line. There's a good chance that because of that injury, they're going to be starting a freshman at tackle. I foresee a lot of false starts getting in the way of drives, And it's just going to be an ugly game because Notre Dame's defense is going to be really tough for Texas A&M to deal with. I just see the Aggies at home managing to pull it off just barely,
Nope.
13-10.
I think Kyle Field will be electric. I think that would be a fun game to go to. But ultimately, I just think Marcus Freeman's a better coach.
Hey, let's see it. Let's see it. On to the Sun Belt here. Georgia Southern hosting Boise State. There wasn't a lot to choose from in the Sun Belt, but Georgia Southern getting this home opportunity against the Mountain West team is very big for positioning in terms of that fifth auto bid to the playoff. Does Georgia Southern have the horses for the upset here?
I think so. I think this is the one game that Boise State will lose before they kind of click into gear and figure out how to make it work with both quarterbacks because both are going to get some playing time. I think Georgia Southern has the experience. I think Jalen White is going to have a lot of rushing yards in this game. And I think JC French is going to show people why he's a starter over Dexter Williams.
Dang, Matt, you are going bold here. I love it. I thought about it, but I'm gonna go Boise State in this one. I think Ashton Genty is just gonna be too good for Georgia Southern's defense to deal with. The Broncos roll to victory. And then finally, our FCS game of the week. Only dubbed the FCS game of the week by us because I am going to this game. And that is pretty much why it showed up on this pick'em. Montana versus Missouri State. Missouri State in their last year in FCS before they move up to the FBS level. Montana looking to make it one step further after making it to the FCS championship game last year, but losing. Who do you think wins this one?
I think Montana takes it. I think they give one last goodbye to Missouri. And I think Montana just continues their success, thirsty for another championship.
Yep. Yeah, I think the Grizz roll in this one. Their defense is going to be a little too much for Missouri State to deal with. Plus, it's hard to tell when Missouri State's going to play their guys because, a lot of their key guys probably are only going to play 4 games this year because this year doesn't mean anything. Although I would say they probably would play this one. That being said, though, Montana with the blackout crowd, I'm hoping to see Junior Bergen return one kickoff for a touchdown. That would be absolutely electric. The Grizz win.
Opening kickoff.
Oh, yes. That would be an amazing way to start. Let's go. So, yeah, that is our week 1 predictions. Let us know what you think. Where did we go wrong? And who do you think will emerge ahead after week 1? Who will be in the early lead here this season?
Yeah.
This is going to be a season-long competition, and we'll see who comes out on top. We're finally here, guys. Let's enjoy it.